Back on Monday. And thank you, too, because you are the owner of Brant's in Palatine.
Oh, right, we
And
haven't plugged that in at least 10 minutes. Let's do that again.
I know, but thank you for the sweatshirt.
Oh, my pleasure.
And
Yeah.
and Justin's looking forward to the long sleeve T-shirt
That he's going to get.
that he's
Yes.
going to get because he really likes the long sleeve
No,
T-shirt.
he's got good taste.
He
They're good.
does. Oh,
Yeah.
no, he knows how to use that T-shirt. Trust me. So last week, we were trying to get to it. We talked about it a little bit about Governor DeSantis because he came under fire because Biden had this crazy plan since there's this new strain that could be more deadly. We don't know. It could spread more quickly than the regular strain, the China virus, but you have the UK virus and you have the South African virus. And there was talk of banning travel to Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. Biden was strongly against banning travel to China. And DeSantis fought back, and I'm so glad he did.
People have asked me about, there was some type of report about potential travel restrictions on Americans and on Floridians. And I think it's an absurd report that they would be doing that. I think it would be unconstitutional, Yep. It would be unwise, and it would be unjust. And if you think about it, restricting the right of Americans to travel freely throughout our country while allowing illegal aliens to pour across the southern border unmolested would be a ridiculous but very damaging farce. So we will oppose it 100%. It would not be based in science. It would purely be a political attack against the people of Florida. And it's unclear why they would even try talking about that. Just look at the COVID situation in the state of Florida. So since December, the last couple months, Florida's cases per capita compared to the rest of the country, 28th.
Yep.
27 other states higher per capita cases. And for the entire pandemic, it's a similar story.
Wow, a politician sounding so logical. That's just, I'm going to need a time to process that.
And guess what? That Super Bowl surge.
Wow.
Has that happened?
No.
We're more than 2 weeks out.
Or
What about
Christmas
that
or
Thanksgiving? Yeah, the
right.
Thanksgiving surge never happened. Christmas surge never happened. For more on this, let's welcome back to the program George Parry, former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the American Spectator and blogs at, and also he wrote a column, Life in DeSantis' Florida, Time Travel to America. Good morning, George, and thanks for joining us again.
Good morning. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, so in your article on spectator.org, which we will tweet out so people can read it, you talked about comparing Florida and how different Republican governors are behaving and acting compared to Democratic governors. What have you learned?
Well, in the article, I compare my experience in Pennsylvania, where I reside most of the year, with what we have experienced down here in Florida. I'm in Southwest Florida right now, probably within shouting distance of Dan Proft, but that's another story. My wife and I were debating whether or not we would come back to Florida for the winter months. And then I saw a video from our county commissioners in the Pennsylvania county where we live, where they said, well, when it comes to getting the COVID vaccine, we are not going to be able to inoculate or vaccinate all of the people in Category 1A until the end of the year. It's going to take us a year, I should say. That means that everyone over the age of 65 and people with comorbidities who are in Category 1A, Pennsylvania isn't going to be able to get the job done just for that group of people for a year. So that decided it. We came down to Florida because our friends down here said that's ridiculous. You can get inoculated down here if you can establish your temporary residence. Well, we have a Florida bank account and we have a place in Florida that we lease. I won't go into all the weeds of how you do that. So we came down, and within 11 days of arriving in Florida, we got vaccinated.
Gosh.
And Florida is on track. They've so far, as of February 13, they've vaccinated over 2 million people in Florida, and they're doing it at the crack of about 100,000 to 150,000 a day.
And George,
so
did they start with the older population right away, or did they make the mistake that some of the other? They did. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing about what DeSantis has done. Another comparison that I draw is in Pennsylvania, our Secretary of Health under our Democrat Governor Tom Wolf, our Secretary of Health Rachel Levine had instigated an order requiring nursing homes and long-term care facilities to take COVID patients. And 3/4 of the deaths in Pennsylvania have occurred in those nursing homes. So that's what they did in Pennsylvania. And you'll be happy to know, by the way, that Rachel Levine is on track to become Biden's Assistant Secretary of Health.
Sure, you
And
promote
he's
him.
the transgender, or
She is. Yeah,
She.
she's
Well,
transgender.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
he. Wait.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm not trying to even be rude.
I'm not
I
even being
don't
rude about
remember.
that. But no,
right.
but is it true though, George, that Rachel Levine took her mom out of a nursing home and put her up in a hotel? Is that true, or is that a rumor?
No, that's absolutely true. And I cite that in the article. The question becomes, did Rachel Levine believe that they would be putting nursing home patients at an increased risk of harm if they put COVID patients into the nursing homes? And the answer is obviously yes, because Rachel took her mother out of a nursing home while they were implementing that order. So that's what we had in Pennsylvania. DeSantis, on the other hand, took exactly the opposite approach. And he says it in the video clip that's part of the article that I've written. He said, look, I decided, meaning DeSantis, that if we had to build extra hospital facilities, field hospitals, to take care of the COVID patients, that's what we were going to do. We were not going to put COVID patients into long-term care facilities where we have our most vulnerable patients, our most vulnerable population. And as a result, they have not had the same rampant deaths among the older population down here in Florida. And believe me, speaking as an old person, every other person in Florida appears to be old.
Right.
They have not had the kinds of losses and deaths that we have experienced in places like New York and Pennsylvania and New Jersey, where they did take COVID patients or required the long-term care facilities to accept COVID patients. So the Florida record is so far superior to what has gone on just on the COVID front. And you add to that the fact that Florida's economy has not been shut down.
Right.
And the
Has
point I make
anyone
in
run
the article-
numbers?
And they still have schools. I was in Naples not long ago. I drove by Naples High School. And again, I start crying. You see school buses and you see kids that are happy and
Playing,
life is normal. People that live in Illinois
Yeah.
are so brainwashed and they don't realize what is going on around them. Go to Utah, go to Wisconsin, go to Indiana for the weekend and see how these kids, they have their lives and people have their livelihoods. And I just wanted to quickly say, because you said that about 100 to 150,000 are being vaccinated a day in Florida. Guess how many are being vaccinated a day in Illinois? Just guess. 61,000.
Okay.
61,000.
I
But the process is
underestimate-
so different. And my dad is 80, and it is so hard. We call the Tinley Park Convention Center every day. We, try to get online. And, then another organization said download an app. My dad has a flip phone. There's no downloading of apps. I mean, they make it so difficult that why can't we just be easy like DeSantis? People would like to stand in line in their cars, just like they did in Florida. And if you don't go in, you come back the next day.
And
They
why
have
do we
nothing
have
else
to
to
keep?
do. They're retired.
Well, as a matter of fact, in Florida, they've been able to accomplish the 150,000 a day using a public-private partnership with Publix pharmacies down here. And now it is expanded to Walmart and to Winn-Dixie supermarkets and one other retailer. And there are more retailers getting involved in this program. So they're ramping up.
Are these
They're so far ahead
these
of the rest of the
pharmacies
country.
making
Now
a
they're
buck from this? Which I hope they do.
Well,
by
they're
the way.
not charging you for the vaccine. But here's
No,
the thing
you're
with
not.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but the thing with the pharmacies is we should have done that all along instead of driving all the way to Tinley Park. There are pharmacies, a CVS, a Walgreens, pretty much on every street corner in the city of Chicago. So elderly people who don't own cars can walk there or take a bus. It's so much easier. And that's what we're used to when we get our flu shot. We don't go, have a National Guard member shoot us, give us an inoculation. But I just think Pritzker went about it all the wrong way.
Of course, even like the notion that when you get your first vaccine, then you have to, at that time, schedule, and it's like so regimented. You have to schedule your next vaccine. Who cares? When you get the shingles vaccine, they just tell you, come back and get your second dose in a couple of weeks. And if you don't, you don't. That's on you. Why can't more be on us and make it an easier, more streamlined process?
Well, I mean, the process that we went through was we went to a Publix pharmacy. They have a website you go to. Publix has the website. And you go on there, and it's almost like a lottery, but it's pretty easy to get set up. And then you go and you make your appointment, and you go and you get inoculated, and they tell you to come back in 28 days, and they set the time aside for you to come back in 28 days. So we're going to get our second dose of Moderna vaccine in mid-March, and then we will be vaccinated. And our friends in Pennsylvania it's like going to the Department of Motor Vehicles. Take a ticket, get in line, and we'll get to you when we feel like it.
It's just such a stark contrast between Democratic governors and Republican governors. But I'm glad you got your vaccine. Yeah. George Parry, thank you so much. Well, the article we will tweet out. It's at spectator.org. The title is Life in DeSantis' Florida, Time Travel to America. Thank you so much, George, and I'm glad for you and your wife. That's good news.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and stay warm.
All right, and enjoy Florida. Right. Jealous. And George Parry joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app.